Hello, we've been asked to remove an access card from the inside of this piano. Now, Steinways are put together slightly differently, and that's why the college has asked us to do that. So first of all, we take the cover off, and I just wanted to talk to you about the cover, because this is something my colleague who does removals told me when he saw I did the wrong thing. So basically, when you take a cover off a piano, it's important to lay it with the top of the cover on the floor, because if you lay it with the bottom of the cover on the floor, you can pick up dust. That's a very good point, and then you can scratch the lid of the piano. So that's something I didn't know and have learned as I went along. Now, as you try and lift up the floorboard on here, it doesn't come off. Now, presumably what happened was the mobile phone fell down here like this and got inside. I don't know how it managed to do that, because it's quite hard to actually push it in here. So now you can't retrieve it unless you take the fall off. The problem with the fall on Steinways is it doesn't lift off. Most falls, this is called a fall, by the way, over the keys, just pull off like this, and you just pull it up, and it's harder to get it back if you're not used to it, but it's easy to get it off. So what you have to do is actually undo the screws under here and on the other side, and then you can lift it off. So let's just take this off. So what I need to do is undo the screws under here. Unfortunately, Steinway's put screws here. But Blutner, certainly older Blutners anyway, that's just quite hard to get off. I can manage it. Blutners and some Becksteins have a much better system where you have wing nuts, and other makes for it can, I don't know how many other makes do it, but wing nuts are much better than screws here, because if you've got a screw, you've got to undo the screw and then it falls onto the floor. Although in the case of this one, this is a younger model A. I didn't actually get the age of this piano, but we'll have a look afterwards. You have to, yes, it stays there, which is wonderful. Sometimes the screw falls on the floor, like the last Steinway we did. In fact, we were asked by the college to remove an access card, and it was the wrong piano. It was the Steinway in the next room, and we couldn't, so I have to come back and do this one. This screw, this is really tight. So tight, I'm going to have to help it off with a hammer, because this screwdriver is the only one I've got, apart from the longer ones. That took a lot of persuasion to come off, so the head's a bit too big for a normal screwdriver. And this also doesn't fall on the floor, which is useful. It has a system where it stays in place. Blutners are nearly always like that, or not always, the older Blutners. Talking about Blutners pre-1925, which will feature a lot on our website. So that screw stays on. The whole idea of this, I think the reason they do the fall like this, Steinways being different from nearly all other manufacturers, one or two have copied them. I think the reason they do it is because you can pull the whole lot off, including the front rail. If you're careful, you can get the whole lot off together. But usually as they get older, you can't do that. Let's see if we can do it on this one. So pull the whole lot off, including the front rail, all together, and then the cheeks stay on it. I think this is, there we are, we managed it. If you can't do that, then it's best to take the cheeks off separately, otherwise you might damage them. So I'm going to put this on top of the cover. Yeah, and it's all stayed together. So as I say, this is a younger model A. So look, we got that off, and we can see in here. I'll just have to lower the camera a bit. Now you can see the mobile phone there has fallen in. When we did this, sent to the retriever a card from a piano a week ago, and it was the wrong piano, so we put the phone in and we could see that that's come through, and lo and behold, there is an access card here. So that was quite easy to get to it. Well, for me it was, but I want to encourage you, if you have to take Steinway apart, the college has called us out 4 times now, I think, to retrieve, or certainly 3, to retrieve objects from inside the piano. Pencils very often fall down off the music stand. If you're a musician, it's best to put the pencil on the side, although it's tempting to put it here, but it can fall in. Often you find they have fallen in. Now we just have to put it back together. So I'll show you how to do that. Now, I didn't really trust the cheeks stay on the piano, and these would fall down and get damaged possibly. So what I've done is I've taken the fall off from the cheeks, and of course the front rail separate now as well. So the Steinways fit together like this. So you've got the fall, and it fits onto the cheek, unlike nearly all other makes, fits on like this. So you can't just lift it up. Somebody suggested making a hole in the top of these, which I've seen done once, so that you can get it off more easily. And with a spring, it's quite hard to get it on, actually. There we are, fit that on nicely, and that does fit very well. and we've put the other side on. So now we've got both sides on, and it's really quite easy to push back in like that. So now we push this down on the other side, and we will put the front rail on. Now, it doesn't have to be put on first. You could tighten up the screws first, obviously. This just slots in. The problem with this system as well is that very often these get damaged. In fact, on old Steinways, they're nearly always damaged, and we have to repair them because it's only a slot in the wood here. I don't really favour this system, although it does have the advantage of being able to regulate by just taking the front rail off. So maybe if you're in a trade, you can give me another advantage that make me more enthusiastic about this system. I'm going to have to clean this with a cloth afterwards. So now, because the screws are not falling on the floor, which is very positive indeed, we can just turn them up. By the way, when you turn screws normally, you turn them backwards first and then forwards, so you engage the thread properly. Not so essential on these, I don't think, but I mentioned that recently, especially on the hammers on the Steinway. The rail that they're fixed into so easily ends up with all the screws going loose because they need to be turned backwards before you turn them forwards. So backwards before I do it forwards. And I'm going to do them hand tight because they're not likely to rattle. And it just, I'm going to put my nail in. I've got guitar playing nails just to tighten up the screw a little bit. But really, it was so tight, and with a very wide, very big slot in it, it was really difficult to get a normal screwdriver in. So just hand tight will be fine, and they won't rattle. So I think I'm going to leave them like that. So that's retrieving an access card in this case from a Steinway Model A grand piano, about 2012 I think, and I'll just check up on that and put the correct date underneath. It's just a wonderful piano. The college is blessed to have lots of really nice pianos, and Steinways, certainly the top floor of this building has got Steinways that we've looked after. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that's been helpful. Do leave any comments underneath if you've got something to say that I've missed out.